Well, good evening, Milestone Church. I hope that you're having a great week. Couldn't complain about today. What a beautiful day, wasn't it? It's awesome to get outside and to be able to just enjoy the sunshine, enjoy the nice weather. And better than yesterday, which was cold. It's just a great entrance to spring, hopefully soon. And so things are great there. I want to follow up from last week. Last week we talked about Easter and said we were going to put a survey out. So we did. We sent out a survey, I think it was Saturday morning, and we got a lot of great responses from that. Really appreciate those that responded back and gave us some information there to help us with the decision for Easter. And so, yes, we're going to go ahead with a 9:30 service and 11 o'clock service for Easter Sunday morning. Just to let you know. And so that 9:30 service will be outside. That won't be recorded. It will not be on the internet. We'll only have the 11 o'clock service will be the live streaming service then. So at 9:30 we'll have the chairs available, or you can bring your own chair and you can be out front as we did over the summer and be able to enjoy that. And what I'd like to do is ask you to invite your friends and neighbors to be part of that service or the 11 o'clock service, whatever you're more comfortable with. And we want to just provide an opportunity for people to worship the Lord on that special day. And certainly, Resurrection Sunday or Easter Sunday is a very significant day for us as followers of Christ because it's a day that is like no other for us. It's a day that He rose from the dead. We celebrate His resurrection. And that really is where our faith is centered. And so I want to encourage you to be part of that and invite others for that. We will be sending out some invite cards so that you can be able to invite your friends and your neighbors and your family and just be reminded of what's going on. And if you want to help out with serving in some ministry, let us know. And we'll have Kids Church or Pure 252 on Sunday is what we're doing. And we will also have nursery. And we're looking forward to just having just a great day altogether. So I want to talk about some current events today. And one of the things that came up today, and I don't, you'll have to forgive me, I didn't do a ton of research on this. Don't think I will do a ton of research. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But this whole thing today that I heard about with this whole Dr. Seuss thing, very interesting. I'm not going to talk much about that because I don't know enough about it to talk about it. So I'll just listen to what people have to say. And you can dialogue with me about it at another time and give me information if you'd like. Here's what I'm observing about our culture, and you've observed it as well. We live in a cancel culture. I was talking with my brother today, and he asked me if I ever talk about that, and I said, I steer away from it sometimes, and he kind of challenged me to talk about it, so I figured I'd talk about it. Cancel culture. What is cancel culture? Cancel culture is simply if we don't like what you're doing or what you're saying, we just cancel you. We're done with you. And you see, we've seen that a lot in the past couple of years, and it's becoming much more of a common theme with people. If we don't agree with you, we cancel you. We're done with you. You don't have a job anymore. You don't have a career that you've enjoyed. You don't have a business or whatever it might be. You can't be on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. We cancel you. Well, that's how our world is working, and that's just how our world works. I want to give you a biblical perspective. Should the church indulge in cancel culture? And I'll be honest, I think we have indulged in it in the last generation maybe or before, and it's something we struggle with. And here's where we should be. Cancel culture generally comes back to something where you see something in someone else that you disagree with, or something that they've done that is totally wrong, and or a perception of what they've done that's wrong. And so there's a lot of conversation around that. But let me take you to a couple verses tonight to guide you through some of this and to kind of prime the pump for you to be thinking about this cancel culture and how we as Christians should be thinking about people that make mistakes. Let's just leave it at that. When someone makes a mistake, what should we do? When someone blows it in the past, how should we handle them? And when someone messes up right in front of us, what should we do? Because the common thinking is, if we disagree, or if you do something wrong that I deem is wrong, or in our sense, if God deems is wrong, generally what happens is we say, well, we're done with you. We're done. But that's not biblical. As a matter of fact, you don't find Jesus doing that. I am so grateful that Jesus is so faithful. He is long-suffering. He never quits on us. He just keeps going and going and going, even though we blow it repeatedly. Remember what he said to the disciples when they asked him, how many times should we forgive? 7 times? And Jesus responded, 70 times 7. In Galatians chapter 6, Paul says this. He says, brethren, if a man is overtaken in any trespass, so if somebody messes up, somebody blows it, if they're overtaken in a trespass, they do something that you're like, you're totally out of line, you shouldn't be doing that. How do you handle that? Here's what he says. You who are spiritual, restore such a one in the spirit of gentleness, considering yourself, lest you also be tempted. The desire or drive that Paul is talking about here is that we are looking for a process of restoration. When someone messes up in the past or currently, we should be looking for ways to restore that person. So we go to that person. In Matthew chapter 19, we see a whole process of this. You go to that person and you speak the truth in love. You say, hey, listen, what you did was wrong. This shouldn't happen. This shouldn't be how it is. And man, I'll tell you what, I've learned so much about things that I could have done differently, things that I've said wrong, and things that in our current culture I've kind of learned a whole lot about different things. And I imagine you have as well. And I've realized that some of the things I've said in the past, man, I shouldn't say it that way. And so I've learned these things by people coming and saying, hey, listen, what you're saying here, the way you're saying it, I wouldn't say it like that because it hurts. It's offensive. And so I've learned a lot. And that's how we're supposed to deal with things like offenses, things that people are doing that's wrong. We go to them and we sit down and say, hey, listen, I love you, and I want to share some things with you here. What you're doing over here is wrong. And I want to help you to redirect because here's the right path. Now, if a person rejects and says, no, I disagree, and I don't want to go that direction, if it's a biblically based issue, then we take another person, we say, all right, well, you know what? I'm going to bring somebody else into this. And so we take someone else into it, and we talk to them, and we say, hey, listen, we see where you're heading. This is hurting people. This is not what God would want. And so we want to see you change directions. And here's the goal. The goal is not to get you out of my life. The goal is to restore our relationship, to bring us back together. And the goal bigger than that is to bring you closer to God as a result of our conversation. It goes totally against cancel culture. And that's where the church should be. We should be looking for ways to restore relationships. We should be looking for that in every aspect of our life. We shouldn't be giving up and cynical with people saying, they'll never straighten out, they'll never do anything different. Listen, if God's still on the throne, and he is, then God can still do something mighty in people. He's still doing a work in me, and I've seen him do many different things with people in our church. So God's still working. And so we need to give God the ability to do the work that he's going to do, and we do that by us stepping into doing what God wants us to do, which looks like, I want to go talk to you for the purpose of restoration. Is it hard to restore someone? Yeah, if they've hurt you. It requires forgiveness and grace, but that's exactly what God wants us to do. Remember, I talked about a couple weeks ago, pain is our friend. In forgiveness, there's pain. In grace, there's always pain. And so that's just part of the reality of this whole restoration process. One of the other things that I'll share in Proverbs 26, verse 20, when you look at how do you deal with this whole cancel culture, here's one of the things that I see us doing quite frequently. We handle ourselves in a way that we just kind of keep the fire going. And Proverbs 26:20 says, "Where there is no wood, the fire goes out, and where there is no talebearer, strife ceases." So listen, if you see a fire's going, don't add to it. If you see people jumping on a bandwagon and going crazy, maybe back away. If there's an argument going on in a relationship, instead of adding more fuel to the fire, back away. And maybe give it some time before you even respond. And that helps to build a relationship that allows for things not to get so bad. So just some tips there as we kind of look at our culture and what's going on. We have a lot of different opinions about different things that are going on today. But I want to give you some biblical perspective on how to handle cancel culture in the church, that is. Hey, thanks for joining me tonight. I hope you have a great rest of the week. And look forward to seeing you on Sunday, and look forward to sending out some cards to give you the ability to invite others for our Easter service. Talk to you soon, church. Thanks so much. Take care.